social media is not really a safe place for kids.
Now at 5, kicking kids off social media. One extreme idea to stop mental health impacts of social apps. Could it be government overreach or a necessary public health measure? Plus,
I'm not a stupid person, but I did make a big mistake.
Victims of scammer Jen Shaw shared their story as the Real Housewife preps for real prison time. Hear from the woman still reeling from financial ruin. And Sundance no longer streaming, Utah's cinematic event of the year back in person. We check in as the film festival kicks off.
Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Winter weather sweeping in once again, this time adding to totals in the central and southern part of the state.
Yes, here we are as a live look at Iron County. Now, it doesn't look like the snow is coming down right now, but you can see that it is building on the sides of the road there with more expected to come.
Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy joining us just outside of the studio up on the weather porch. The good news for Alana is we aren't seeing as much activity up here, but it's a different story in the southern part of the state. So Alana, what can they expect?
Well, we've got pockets of showers in the north, but dry right here on the ABC4 weather porch. In southern Utah, we've got precipitation filling in, and with cold air in place, well, that's going to be trouble. You see that area of low pressure. It's on the move, and it actually dropped down from Nevada, just took that expressway right into southwestern Utah. It's counterclockwise flow, keeping active conditions throughout the state. The sweeping radar showing that in southern Utah as well as in the north. We do have pockets on the western side of I-15 in northern Utah for the northern Wasatch Front of some light snow showers. And then what you saw on the cameras down there in Cedar City, not everything coming down hard, but here's a live view of Bryce Canyon where it continues to snow and has been throughout the afternoon. This area under the winter weather advisory that was expanded today to include not just the central and southern mountains, but Bryce Canyon country, as well as our central valleys. It includes all the way up to Juab and Millard County and through the Kanab and Lake Powell area. This is where we are expecting accumulating snow through Friday afternoon. Tricky travel expected in that portion of the state as well. What you're looking at in yellow, that's where you could see road slush, but you have to keep in mind with very cold conditions, any bit of light precipitation will very easily ice up. We could see very icy conditions in the southern portion of the state, but even pockets in northern Utah. The Friday morning commute could be a very slippery one, so keep that in your back pocket. We're also going to look at how much snow to expect in those areas coming up in my full forecast in just a few moments. Glenn, Emily, back to you.
Thank you, Alana. In a traffic alert tonight, a major road project hits a milestone this weekend, but it could interrupt your travel. This animation from UDOT showing what this weekend's work will look like. Construction workers will be lifting 4 massive beams over parts of Legacy Parkway and putting them on top of columns. The beams will make the West Davis Corridor Farmington interchange. UDOT shutting down southbound Legacy between Farmington and Parish Lane all weekend. This does start at 10 p.m. Friday. This to protect drivers.
These beams they're large, they're heavy. Each one of them weigh 99,000 pounds. That's the equivalent of 20 pickup trucks.
UDOT says this inconvenience over the next few weekends will mean much more convenient travel for drivers in Davis County. The road will open back up Monday at 5 a.m. for the morning commute.
All right, and in developing news now, U.S. Representative Chris Stewart of Utah is planning to introduce a federal bill that would ban social media accounts for any child under the age of 16. ABC4's Northern Utah correspondent Kate Garner joining us from Ogden after spending the day talking to parents about the bill today. Kate, what are they thinking out there of the idea?
Well, Emily, the reaction is mixed with some doubt surrounding how something like this would even work. But for the most part, parents tell me that they don't like their young children using or being on social media anyway. Now, Representative Stewart tells ABC4 that the bill will have a handful of primary goals, including giving individual states and parents the ability to file civil lawsuits against social media sites if it can be shown that those sites led to children harming themselves. Now, I asked parents over social media today what they think about this. Almost all say they don't allow their young kids on social media anyway, and some think that 15 is a little old for the restriction. One parent tells me keeping kids safe is what's most important.
If we can keep these kids for a little while longer and let them get comfortable with themselves and learn to love themselves on their own without all the pressure from social media to be something that they might not even want to be, I think it's fantastic.
That's Ashley Nelson. Now, she has an 8-year-old daughter with very limited access to the internet, no access to social media. She tells me while she usually doesn't like government overreach, she thinks this is something that could help parents protect their kids. Reporting live in Ogden, Kate Garner, ABC4 News.
Kate, thank you. In local politics tonight, Utah lawmakers considering a bill that would allot public funds to pay for private education. House Bill 215 would establish the Utah Fits All Scholarship Program. The program would afford parents who pull their kids out of public school money to pay for a private education. It would also increase teacher salaries by up to $8,400.
I think public schools shouldn't be too worried about this. This is for kids that are falling through the cracks and who need help in areas that may help them become better people in adulthood.
Okay, so the House Education Committee is still considering this bill as we speak and is expected to vote on it at any moment. Meanwhile, the Utah Parent-Teacher Association releasing a statement against school vouchers. They're saying this tonight. Although Utah PTA supports the increase of teacher salaries, we cannot support the distribution of up to $8,000 per student to education service providers with no oversight on teaching quality, standards, assessment, and accountability.
And today in the state Senate, votes indicate 3 laws under transgender kids will move to the House. 2 rounds of preliminary votes come less than 24 hours after Senate Bills 16, 93, and 100 were voted through committee. All 3 bills would affect transgender kids and teenagers in the state, banning gender-affirming care for trans kids, birth certificate changes before 18, and requiring schools to tell a parent if their child uses another name or pronoun. Governor Spencer Cox vetoed a bill last year that would keep trans girls out of girls' school sports. But when we spoke to him on Inside Utah Politics, he said there was broad consensus for the bills this year, indicating he would not veto.
2 Republican senators breaking from the party on these votes today. One of them, Senator Daniel Thatcher, he spoke on the chamber floor, though he's in recovery from a stroke last November. Now, after delivering arguments against banning gender-affirming care for kids, the senator appearing to suffer some sort of medical episode. You can see him here appearing to sink down in his desk, causing a commotion in the room.
Mr. President, yeah, we need to have order in the chamber. Go ahead, Senator McKay.
I don't know that it's an order issue as much as it might be health, President.
President Stewart Adams adjourning the session, but when the Senate gathered again later in the morning, Senator Thatcher still spoke on the issue and continued to vote. We did hear from the Senate that he is doing okay tonight. In national news, President Joe Biden in California as the state suffers damage from devastating storms, which have killed at least 20 people.
Yes, Washington correspondent Basil John reporting on the administration's response.
Business owners and residents have been hit hard by these storms, and the administration promises to support the state's recovery.
President Biden arrived in California Thursday, ready to survey the communities facing historic storm damage. Late Wednesday night, the president authorized more federal funds to help cover the cost of cleanup, and the administration says more than 500 FEMA agents and other federal support workers are set to help.
They're with you to provide disaster relief.
That aid is something lawmakers like California Democratic Congresswoman Judy Chu have been pushing for since the dangerous weather began.
Roads are washing away and already people are dying, so we desperately need the help.
Lawmakers are also concerned that communities need to become more resilient to severe weather in the future.
We're working very, very hard to bring resources from the federal government to address these issues, but we also have to tackle climate.
On Friday, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Los Angeles to meet with local leaders to focus on increasing drought and flood resilience. Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.
Still ahead, we're tracking the latest storm system to impact the state, and Sundance back in person. Here's a look at what to expect in Summit County. Yes, you see a quick hitter of a storm on Sunday. I'll break down the details and what the southern half of the state should expect overnight in Utah's most accurate forecast.